If you guys are on with me, if you have the ability to comment down below and let me know it's coming through clear, that'd be awesome. I've had a heck of a time getting on tonight. Hey, Sharon. I'm going to be tilting my head because I had the orientation set right and it's still not doing that for my live. So, Sharon Fowler says, hey, Crystal, it's great to be here. I missed a couple of lives because I was busy at the time. The replays are also work. Thank you for being here, Sharon. All right, so tonight we're going to be making delicious burritos that are baked chicken burritos. So right to my left is my Instant Pot, and it's not done yet. So we have about another 15 minutes on the Instant Pot. So I figured I would talk about my presentation, and if you're new here and you guys were at my presentation for the local Mom Co., I'm going to be covering kind of the highlights, shall you say, of my presentation that was this last week. And try and give you guys some more ideas because I know at the end of my presentation there were a lot of moms that were totally overwhelmed and I don't want that. So we're going to talk about that. Also, for those of you guys who ordered my cookbook is going to be shipping to my house on Monday. So they will be in my possession hopefully either on Tuesday or shortly after that. And then I'll be shipping them to you. So if you've ordered my cookbook and you've been waiting for the cookbook, it is coming. Officially shipping Monday. So if you haven't ordered my cookbook, this is my cookbook. There's over 230 amazing nutrient-dense recipes inside it. They're all from scratch. They're all kid approved. And a lot of them take under 30 minutes of your time to make. And then, of course, there's the cooking time. And this is only $18.99. The link is down below if you haven't purchased it yet. Someone's being wild over there. This recipe is not in the cookbook. Tonight, I'm going to be using, once again, my keto tortillas. This recipe is inside my cookbook. Just in case you're new to these tortillas, they're amazing. They are grain-free, nut-free, bendable, foldable. You can roll them into a ball, soft tortillas. I love these. We are in a transition period off of the GAPS diet, and so we can do things like this. Okay, so while we're waiting, I do want to mention I got a book a couple weeks ago, and I posted it over on Instagram, but I didn't share it with you guys, I don't think. This book is amazing if you guys have a farm and you're into herbs. It talks about everything for yourself, but also for all of your animals. So pets and chickens and goats and all sorts of things. Talks about all of the amazing herbs for those animals. So you should pick this up if you can. And if that sort of situation applies to you. I haven't looked all the way, read all the way through it because it's a new book to me. And I'm not new to herbs at all, but it has a lot of really great information and pictures of what it looks like in the wild, kind of like how to identify it and how to use it. Anyway, it's a really, really great book. So check that out. It is the Homesteader's Herbal Companion by Amy Fewell. There you go. All right. So there's that. I also wanted to say, in case you're one of those mamas who's watching my live cooking class right now, you saw me this last week. If you are leaning towards cleaning up your family's diet, especially if you are not poking, we'll say it that way. I strongly recommend you guys buy this book as well. You can get this on Amazon. It's not that expensive. It's the Nourishing Traditions book of baby and child care. This is amazing. It has a lot of information in it. If you're going to be going against the culture and against recommendations, this is the book to have in your home. It covers all of the childhood illnesses, things to be afraid of and things to consider when making choices, all the way from preparing for a baby all the way up until your baby's born and then through the child's life. So go grab this book. It's on Amazon. You can also get it at used bookstores. The Nourishing Traditions book of Baby and Child Care by Sally Fallon Morell. Okay. Really, really important. Okay, so let's do a recap because you guys weren't there. I had an amazing full meeting with the Mom Crow group here that's local to me. And we had between 22 and 25 moms. I had made a handout. I know 22 made it out, but there's some moms that kind of came in a little late and they gotten a handout. So we say have between 22 and 25 moms, which is amazing. Some of them had never heard anything that I said, but there were actually quite a few that even knew what lard was, which was amazing. So one of the, what's that for? Oh, no, just shut it off. Thank you. One of the slides that we covered was what oils should you have in your kitchen. So I figured we could talk about that while we wait for this Instant Pot to be done. So when it comes to oils in your kitchen, we want semi-solid fats. And the reason why is because anything that is a liquid at room temperature is not stable for cooking. So an example of a oil that's that way would be olive oil. That is a liquid at room temperature. And so we wouldn't want to use that for cooking. You can use that for salad dressing, like a vinaigrette situation, or like an Italian or a Caesar, like anything that's needs that oil, that's amazing, but not if you're going to cook it. So examples of really great semi-solid fats are butter. That's one. This is a jar of lard. You can totally buy lard off of places like Azure Standard. They also sell what's called tallow. So lard is the semi-solid fat that's harvested out of a pig. And tallow is the semi-solid fat that's harvested out of a beef cow. And they're both amazing. If you get on Google and you Google old lard ads, you will see that people used to love to use lard. This is what the people used before World War II, and they used it before Crisco. Crisco is a semi-solid at room temperature, but it's not naturally that way. If you were to read the ingredients or were to Google the ingredients in Crisco, you wouldn't want to eat it. It's made out of vegetable oils, which are not semi-solids by nature. So yeah, butter, lard, tallow. There's also goose fat and duck fat. You can buy those if you just click on Google and Google that goose fat, duck fat. It'll come that to cook with. And then the last oil that I would have inside your kitchen is cod liver oil. If you can buy the cod liver oil with butter oil in it, that's even better because it adds the activator X that Dr. Weston A. Price talked about, which is vitamin K2. And the cod liver oil already has vitamin A and vitamin D in it. And so when you buy the fermented cod liver oil with the butter oil, you also get that activator X, which is the thing that unlocks all of the other fat-soluble vitamins for your body. So if you're one of those new moms that's still watching after all this jibber jabber, and you can only do one thing, incorporate the Green Pastures fermented cod liver oil with butter oil for your children. That would give them a huge boost. We also talked about vitamin A and how important it is. And I showed the slide that you can see on many of Sally Fallon's recordings of her presentations that talk about the different vitamin A content when it comes to chicken. So just to give you the short end of it, if you can select chicken that is the meat that's closest to the bones, so that would be a dark meat that still has the skin on it, that is the highest amount, other than chicken liver, of vitamin A in that chicken meat. So buying boneless, skinless chicken breasts is not a good idea. And the reason why is because it's really low in vitamin A, and you're paying premium for it. So if you're going to spend your grocery budget on something, you might as well spend it on meat that is more nutrient dense for your family. That's one way. Hey, the Instant Pot's done. That's one way to make your grocery budget provide more nutrients for your family per dollar. So for instance, someone asked me, how do you get your kids to eat the skin? So the way I get my kids to eat the skin is like tonight, the chicken, I just took a whole chicken and I cooked it all down, and these are in freezer bags. And we just chop the skin up into little tiny pieces and just add it with the chicken into the burritos, which is what we're going to be making tonight, or the delicious chicken smothered burritos. And so that's how I get the chicken into my family. But another option would be going and buying chicken legs and putting a seasoning on that, on the skin. You could also do like a shake and bake. I know I have a video up here on the channel if you don't own my cookbook. that shows you how to make shake and bake chicken. Just make it so appetizing that the child can't say no, okay? So that's a great way to take your current budget and provide more nutrients, because what we want to do is we want to take your existing budget and we want to make it more nutrient dense. Processed foods are more expensive per serving than for scratch meals. So the second that you start watching my cooking classes and you start learning to cook from scratch, your grocery budget will stay the same, but your food is much more nutrient dense, and it will also be void of all chemicals and preservatives, colors, artificial flavors, MSG, the list goes on and on and on. So the sooner that you can learn how to cook from scratch, your budget will stay the same, but or not even get cheaper, really. And your dollars going further as far as providing more nutrients for your family. If money is super, super tight and you can't do a lot of meat right now, a really, really good tip is to spend your meat money on really healthy liver. Liver eaten once a week has more nutrients in it than if you were to serve, let's say, ground beef all week. It's very, very nutrient dense foods. So even if you have to do mostly low to no meat diet, if you're spending some money on that amazing liver from a happy animal that was out on pasture, preferably grass fed, then the nutrients in that liver will be more by consuming it once a week than it would be if you ate ground beef all week. So that's a little tip there. We also talked about cereals. So we talked about cereals, and there was a University of Michigan study that studied some rats with cereal and the cereal boxes. And the rats that were fed just the cereal box and water lived longer than the rats that had the cereal and water. So cereal is a denatured food, and this applies to even organic cereal. In nature, you don't walk around and find things that are shaped like Cheerios, you know? And so what happens is they have to heat all the ingredients up super, super high, and then they push it through a die to make those shapes. And when they do that, it totally denatures everything and ruins any vitamins, including the ones that are listed on the box that they have added. All of that gets destroyed in the process of the cereal. So really, you're feeding your children dead food. And cereal is so expensive. So some of the options that I had given to some of the moms were things like homemade granola. You could make any of the oatmeal bakes inside my cookbook. They're delicious. I'm trying to remember what else I said. We had, you could just go, if you don't have time to make sourdough, you could go buy sourdough from somewhere and have toast and eggs, eggs and bacon, yogurt and granola, yogurt and fruit. We have that a lot here. And then if you don't have the time to do sourdough, I just encourage that if you don't have the time to properly prepare your grains, that you just go ahead and go grain-free. And there are a ton of grain-free recipes inside my cookbook. It's just those are quick recipes that you just whip together. They're in the oven in under 10 minutes, and you bake them, and you're off to a good start. What happened to you?
I have some milk.
Not right now, buddy. What have you been eating? Your face is all burned. Cinnamon? Are you eating cinnamon?
No. Mommy gave me something yucky.
Okay, but look, it's all over your shirt. So you were eating cinnamon. So I need you to go to the bathroom and go wash your face. Man, the cinnamon's so strong on you, it's making me sneeze. Okay. So back to cereals. So just try to avoid cereals and think of other things. Even eggs in a skillet really quick before school will keep your children full longer. When a child is riding the food roller coaster, as I refer to it as, you feed them breakfast, and like less than 2 hours later, they're starving to death. That child is missing nutrients. Children should not be begging for snacks. It should be an optional thing. If your meals are packed with nutrient-dense foods and that child is receiving all of the nutrients they need, they will not be starving 2 hours later. Another tip I gave was that if you're going to feed your children the fruit, that you would feed a fat with it. That helps to balance out that blood sugar, so it's not so much of an arc for your child, so that they're not riding the blood sugar train either, because that doesn't help as well. So things like making taking cream cheese, adding some cinnamon and honey, and making a dip for apples. That's a great option. Or serving like raw cheese. We talked about that as well. In case you don't know about Azure Standard, my link is down below. If you click on that link, and make your first order. They'll give you a share code that you can share with your friends. And every time when your first friend makes a $100 order, you get $25 off of your next order. So if you share it with 4 people who have never heard of Azure Standard and they all make a $100 order, you get $100 off your order. So it can add up pretty darn quickly, but they sell raw cheese. So that would be my suggestion if you're watching and you need a supplier of raw cheese. Yeah, so basically the whole reason why I started this channel is because there's a lot of moms out there, and it's my my goal. I feel like it's my calling to reach the next generation with nutrient-dense foods through education. I have to educate their mamas how to make nutrient-dense foods for their children so that we can change what's happening in our country. So anyway, that's why I have this cooking channel. So if you're watching and you're going to learn, that's awesome. It's a journey, not a race. So don't beat yourself up for where you are. If you ever have any questions, please just comment down below and I will answer them. I check my comments once a day, and I will answer any of your questions. If you want to remain more anonymous, my email is also down in the description box. Please just reach out. I'm not scary, and I'm here. This is my goal, is to help you. So anyway, let's get started on dinner. That being said, because I've got about 3 more minutes before I can release the Instant Pot's pressure, and then we're going to be off. I'm so glad you're here, Sharon. Okay, so let's get to rolling. This is smothered burritos. So what I have inside the Instant Pot is some white beans that are soaked and fermented. And then in my cookbook, I have a recipe for, let me find it, for refried beans. There it is. Page 139. This is an Instant Pot recipe, okay? And this recipe makes amazing refried beans. They are so good, you just want to sit and eat them and nothing else. And so I just put all the ingredients into there, except for the salt. I need to add some salt. And started it up, and it's been doing its thing. And we're going to stuff the burritos with some of these as well, and maybe even pour some over the top. We'll see how much we have left over. But that's what the beans are. So it's just a combination of, you could use any beans that you want. You could use pinto beans as well. But I used the white navy beans. It's more coming off of GAPS friendly. And some onion powder and some garlic powder and cumin. And I think that's it. And water, of course, water and broth. So that's what's happening over there. I'm going to grab a large bowl and we're going to get to mixing the stuffing for these delicious tortillas. Not right now. All right. Let's go ahead and angle the camera down. There's William, who's going to beg about milk. We're not having milk right now, buddy. Mommy is going to make dinner. Okay? So go watch a movie or go play for a little bit and I'll let you know. Okay? All right, so what I have, I'm going to be making hopefully enough to fill a like 2 13x9 pans. That's another tip that I've given out on this channel several times, is that if you're making nutrient-dense food and you're taking the time to make it, that you would make enough for lunch tomorrow. My kids are all home with me all the time, and so we homeschool, so we go through a lot more food at home than the typical family. Okay, so I'm going to be adding 1.5 pounds of chicken into this bowl. It already has all the bones and everything it's supposed to anyway. Oh, there's a bone right there. Look at that. My kids are falling asleep at the wheel. Usually when I cook a chicken down, then the kids work together to pull all the chicken off and then weigh it out into 1 pound bags. Okay, so that also has the skin in it, as I said before. Oh, you ready to go outside? Okay, so 1.5 pounds of chicken in there. And then this is already shredded up cheddar cheese. I had a little issue with my Azure order. Was that last month? I think it was last month. And the cheese came and the seal was broken on the cheese. And so I ended up, like I called them so that they gave me a refund. But the cheese was still good. It was just starting to get a little iffy. And so I went ahead and I shredded it all. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 cups of cheese. And with our, and like I said, it's going to be 2 13x9 pans, you guys. So it's going to make a lot. It's okay, Naomi. Naomi's going to go outside for a little farm tour. She has a cold, so I'm hoping she holds out for the whole class. Because she just is not doing too well. Okay, so I have, as a recap, 1.5 pounds of chicken that doesn't have any bones in it. It has delicious skin in there that's all chopped on up, and we've got 2 cups of cheddar cheese in there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and vent the Instant Pot because it's right behind you guys. And then we're going to get into that. So I'm going to move you guys over so hopefully it's not too loud when it vents. Let me throw a towel on top of it. My Instant Pot, like when I want to go to vent, it like spews stuff everywhere. I don't know if anyone else has an Instant Pot that does it that way, but mine does. And when it does that, it's just a mess. It goes all over my shiplap. It goes everywhere. I'm going to go grab 2 13x9 pans. Not right now. Listen to me. I will come and get you when it's time for milk. Okay? Go find a book and look at a book. Okay?
And it's time for milk?
No.
It's time for milk.
Alright, I got 2 13x9 pans. Hopefully this will be enough. And we're going to lard up these pans. So we are going to cover them in lard. Just like you would if it was Crisco. But we don't use that around here. I'm trying to find my little paintbrush. I might just have to use my, oh, there it is. You can use your hands too, but I like to use this little, it's like a barbecue brush, silicone barbecue brush there. Okay. I'm just going to coat these, and this is to prevent it from sticking as we're baking. I think I'll go ahead and preheat the oven as well. Let's do 375 degrees. I gotta check my oven to make sure it's empty. It's empty. It's been a super busy week. On top of my presentations, I've been cooking down a lot of the chicken harvest from whatever weekend that was. And then I've been canning it and canning the broth and getting everything up on the shelves. And so it's been super, super busy, and I've been using my oven to sanitize the jars. So I turn it up to 200 degrees before I can with my jars, instead of using my dishwasher. So I clean them really, really well with soap and water, and then throw them into the oven at 200 degrees. And that just helps to kill anything that possibly could be in the jars from being stored, because I'm actually like getting into jars that are probably haven't been used in a long time. I bought some old jars from an estate sale, and they were a little more on the dirty side, and so I'm just being cautious with that. All right, we are almost out of steam here, which doesn't sound like a good thing, does it? Let's add some seasoning to this chicken. I'm going to grab some chili powder. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and stick 1 tablespoon of chili. Ooh, that's a big chunk. Close enough. 1 tablespoon of chili powder. And we're going to do approximately 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. One teaspoon of onion powder. And I can't remember if I got down the cumin or not, so now I'm going to have to look around a little bit here. Hang on. Let me go check in here. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and do half of a tablespoon of organic cumin. One thing that you should note is when you go to buy spices, any of these spices that are made out of peppers, which is a lot, so if you're shooting for 1 tablespoon of cumin, you should really try and buy those organic because they are heavily sprayed. So anything that you're buying using the Clean 15 list, you want to make sure that if you're buying something that's in its dehydrated form, like chili powder, those come from hot chilies. So we want to try and buy those organic if you can. Okay, so we have 2 13x9s that are greased, but I'm going to set one aside while we fill the first one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stir this up with my hands. We've also been eating, another really quick lunch that we've been eating is chicken patties, and I made them here on the channel. There's a live cooking class on how to make those, and they taste so good. They taste just like chicken nuggets. If you were to make them a little bit smaller and have some dip, you could totally make them pass as a chicken nugget. They're so good. So if you're interested in that, if that's something your kids would eat, I would go back and watch that live cooking class. It was a chicken patty class a couple weeks ago. Could be a month because you know what? Like, time flies so fast. Okay, so there we go. That's all mixed, and our Instant Pot is now depressurized. There we go. I'm just going to get out a cutting board here, and we'll make the tortillas up in it. Okay, let's angle the camera down so you guys can see what I'm going to do. This comes together really, really quickly. The beans could cook while you're at work. The chicken could already be ready to go. You're just going to throw it on in with some seasonings, and you could be ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to grab this out of the Instant Pot. I am blessed to be at home, but this is totally doable even if you are not at home. So I have I made a big batch. So I'm going to blend these with a immersion blender. I got to add the salt as well. I forgot to add that before I cooked them. So I'm going to have to add 2.5 teaspoons of salt to this. Let me go grab my salt. I am so excited to get the cookbook shipped out. It's not even funny. So I'm just going to estimate on the 2.5 on the salt. And you want to make sure you're using colored salt. So pink Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt, just not white table salt. We also talked about that in my presentation. You're after the minerals inside the salt. So I'm just going to blend this. And if you've never made my refried bean recipe before, you should know that as you blend and as these sit, they thicken. So don't freak out. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera already, but it's like already thickening from what it was. And that's due to blending the beans. But as it cools, it really gets nice and thick, restaurant style. And restaurant quality only better because it's all from scratch. And I didn't have to do anything other than throw some ingredients in my Instant Pot, press the bean and chili button, and walk away. Pretty slick. I'm just going to rinse this immersion blender off real quick. Okay, so it's not hot anymore, but this is really hot. So we're going to move this over onto the stove. So we have our 2 things that we are stuffing our wraps with. So I made these wraps from scratch. Another option would be to buy sourdough or sprouted tortillas. Totally cool. Because I made these from scratch, I rolled them so they're more like a rectangle, which makes it so easy to stuff. Another option, if you're not doing grain-free or you can't have psyllium seed husk, is you could also wrap this in some leaves from a cabbage. That would work as well. All right, so I'm just going to put some chicken in the middle. And these are going to be wrapped. I'm going to take this out because it's actually the knuckle part. And no one's going to eat that in the wrap. All right. This one's even going to get some skin in it. Check it out. All right. So now I just need something. Here it is. to transfer these delicious beans onto the top. Okay. So then I'm just going to take it, I'm just going to roll it, and we're going to put it right into the 13 by 9. Just like that. Ta-da. Okay. Do it again. This is an easy meal. This is easy. You could totally prep this on the weekend as well if you're into freezer meals. I know not everybody is. Totally could prep this on the weekend and put it in the freezer until it's time. Or if you're going to use it that week, there's no need to freeze it. Food stays good in the fridge for at least a week. Okay, so I'm just going to roll it. And then it goes right into the pan like this. I'm not folding sides in. I'm just butting them up against each other in the pan. And like I said, the oven is currently preheating to 375 degrees. This is going to be so good. My kids love these refried beans. Doesn't matter if I use white beans like I did tonight or if I use pinto beans. They absolutely love them. I have a menu for the winter, or at least part of it. And I think next month is, don't quote me, it's either between now and Christmas or it's after Christmas. But it's a recipe that uses pinto beans, and it just looks delicious. It's pinto bean soup, and I'm excited to try that one, especially because we love, you know, creamy refried beans, and it's like that, only it's in a soup, so it should be delicious. We are also still making the delicious golden lentil soup and loving it. That was also a live cooking class. That's a great meal that if you're going low or no meat for that particular meal, it is just delicious. And we don't like lentils, but we love that recipe. I think we've made it like 6 times. And I actually look forward to making it throughout the winter because it'll be a nice, thick, creamy soup without thickener that is just delicious. And this last time I actually skipped the coconut aminos that was in the original recipe. I wanted to try it at least once with the way the recipe was listed. Okay. So that chicken mixture has cheese in it, remember? Woo, those refried beans got on my fingers. So the cheese is going to melt in all of these. It'll be totally delicious. And you know, Mexican's kind of a dairy thing, but if you had to cut down on dairy, you could skip the cheese and then just eat it like with salsa or something. Still be really, really good. I think I overfilled this one. The reason why I'm doing this on a cutting board is because if you overfill and you roll, obviously stuff's going to come out. So I always try to do it on something that's easy to clean instead of my countertops. We are running out of room in the 13 by 9. We are up to, let's see, this is the 8th one. And there's going to be plenty of these refried beans to serve as a side. So it's going to be perfect. Okay. This is the last one. Well, let me see if I can find a smaller one here. This is the last one that's going to go in this. You guys can hear it in my voice too. I'm fighting off the cold. Am I missing? Okay, hang on. I'm missing a comment. Just a second. Let me wash my hands and I'll make my phone light up so I can read your comments. Okay. Hang on one second here. Okay, the comment says, GAPS diet. Let's see. By the way, I am now on stage 6 of the GAPS diet. Good for you, Sharon. Which I've been following strictly. And though I thought about eating what my family was, I found I wasn't craving it. Yes, girl. Yes, that is a total win. That's awesome. Oh, poor baby. You can get her out, honey. That is awesome. Good for you, Sharon. That is such an accomplishment. Oh, my goodness. You have blessed your body for life, honey. Okay. So there's one full 13 by 9. I'm going to go ahead and fill a second one. Or you can fill a second one while I hold her. Would you rather have that happen? Or you can push her. That was a hard no. Nothing against you guys. We would rather just push the baby instead of give my cooking class. All right, we're gonna keep on going. So this pan will be for our lunch tomorrow. I don't need as much because Jeremiah will not be here, that I know of anyway. Jeremiah recently quit his job last week, and he is going out on his own for our own construction company. And so big changes happening over here, but just, you know, trusting this is what we're supposed to be doing, that we've been praying about. And so we're off on that whole adventure. But sometimes I'm like, are you going to be home? You shouldn't be home. But I know for sure he won't be home tomorrow. And the clients that he's going to love him so much that they feed him every time he comes to work at their house. So don't have to have a lunch for him for tomorrow. I just love these wraps. We've used them on road trips as well. They are so easy to just stuff with stuff and then take them on a road trip. Okay. I'm like getting a little bit too generous with the refried beans. Because it's flowing out the sides and onto my fingers. All right. That is so great, Sharon. I'm so proud of you. I wasn't sure if you were actually going to do it, and that is just amazing. Doing gaps, like, it really resets your body, and it reminds you of what you should be craving. Like, it teaches you how to listen to your body and like truly be able to know what you need to eat, and you know what your body is craving and kind of why, which is so cool. For me, after gaps, I didn't crave sugar. Actually, I didn't even crave fruit. I still don't really crave fruit unless I'm tired. Then I want the fruit sugar. Wow, I really overfilled this one. But I don't like just naturally say I have to have fruit. It just doesn't come natural to me anymore. That whole craving for sweets is gone. I'm not saying that if I was presented with a cheesecake that I wouldn't eat it, but I'm not sitting around craving that. I actually crave fats over eating sweets, which is kind of cool. So I found that like keeping fat bombs in the house is a big help, and raw cheese and all of the good healthy fats, so that you have something to eat when you are craving fat, which is so important. Ooh, the oven is preheated. It's almost magic time. I was also, I'd like to encourage the moms that are watching this that have, you know, younger children or even teens. It's so important that you incorporate your children into cooking. Right now, my children are cleaning the house before their dad gets home and taking care of the baby for me, so I can give you guys a class. But literally, I believe everybody should have their children in the kitchen with them, because learning with you, it's okay that your kids are learning with you. We owe it to our children to learn how to cook, because it was not passed to me from my mother, and for various reasons it's maybe not passed for you either. And so we have got to change that cycle so that our kids know how to nourish their children. Okay, got one more in this pan. I'm actually going to have some left over, and we can talk about what we can do with that. So good. I love smothered burritos because they're just like, they're loaded and they are delicious. And okay, there's a second one right there. So I have a little bit left, so I think I'm actually gonna do like a little like mini pan for like 2 more, because I don't know what I would use that in. It already has seasoning. Okay, so let's fill 2 more, and then we're going to do the topping. And then it'll just go into that 375-degree oven and bake until everything is warm, because everything is cooked in these. So you could totally throw this together and then go sit down and spend some family time while it bakes. Or do the dishes, or take a shower if you're getting home from work. Okay, so let's do 2. And then I have leftover wraps, and these wraps we have found keep for a really long time in the refrigerator, like over a week. And we have stuffed them with stuff like breakfast sausage and eggs and cheese, and that is delicious. But we stuff these with everything. So good. I really overfilled this one. Oh boy. Okay. And wash my hands. Okay, I'm gonna grab some sour cream really quick. Okay, so this is what I go to for a fast topping for burritos or enchiladas. I have a jar of homemade salsa verde from like 2 years ago, and the probiotic sour cream from Nancy's. And we're just gonna mix these together, and then it's gonna get dumped over top of the burritos. If I can get it open. Hang on, stand by. Oh, there it goes. All right. So I'm just going to reuse my bowl. Nobody get grossed out, okay? Just going to empty that all the way on out. If you can't have dairy, you could just dump the salsa verde, regular salsa, or top them with the refried beans. That's awesomely amazing too. So I'm only going to use about half of this jar. Okay, half of a quart. So it's about 2 cups. I'm going to grab some milk. And we're going to water this down a little bit with some milk because it needs to be able to be poured over top of the tortillas. The burritos, not tortillas. I guess it's all the same, right? Okay. You can do this with red salsa as well. It's really good. We're going to go ahead and top these babies. So we have the tray of 2 here. Just going to take a little scoop and top them. This is obviously going to melt. So these 2 are ready for the oven. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then that one was 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it made 20 burritos. This recipe makes 20 burritos. I think this needs a little bit more milk here. One thing I will say about these grain-free tortillas is that they do soak up the moisture more than a regular tortilla. And I think that's just because it has psyllium husk in it. But they're still really, really good. So I just try and like whatever I'm putting in them or on them is kind of more creamy or more watery so that when it soaks it on up, they don't become too dry. There we go. Oh, I forgot the cheese on the last one. All right, well, that's okay. I'm just going to take a little sprinkle of cheddar cheese because it just makes it look pretty. Go over the top. This can go right into the oven. At 375 degrees, in case you didn't write that down. Last pan. I always like to make extra because, like I said, I like to know what's for lunch tomorrow. One of the most dreaded questions as a mom is what's for lunch or what's for dinner. And if you can make double the amount, then you already know what's for dinner and what's for lunch. Because it's already in your fridge waiting for you. Okay. There we go. This one's going in the oven. And like I said, 375 degrees till everything is melted. And it's nice and warm and it's the temperature you'd like to eat it. Okay. Hopefully everybody's still there. William, do you want to have your milk real quick, buddy? Okay. Where's your stool? Why don't you get a stool, buddy? And Naomi might want some milk too. Naomi might want some milk too. Okay, so why don't you share some milk with your sister? Just a minute. Okay, buddy? Yeah, sister will come and have milk with you. All right. Why don't you stand up on your chair so I can make sure it's at the right height so they can see you. Oh, that's really tall. You got a tall stool. You might have to get on your knees. Why don't you get on your knees?
No, you can have it during dinner.
Okay, you can have it during dinner.
Either during that or with dinner.
Okay, so yes, William has a little owie here. He was being a boy yesterday and ran into the corner on the on the table, and so it was borderlining needing some stitches. So I did a little butterfly bandage there. You want some, don't you? Oh, wait, William wants to clink with you. Clink. There we go. There. Naomi loves milk. Don't you, baby? This is goat milk from our farm. You always cover me in it, though. Every time, little one. Every time. Oh, you got snot. Let me just wipe it off. Hang on. I know, honey. This is Naomi's first real cold. So, she's not enjoying it. Whoops. You know what I'm thinking we should do, Naomi? Is just put a little towel on you. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not going to wipe your face. Come here. Look. I'm going to go like this. I'm not wiping your face. Look. Look here. There you go. Now if it drips, it just goes on the towel. Ooh, good thing we had. Ooh. Okay, well, maybe it went on the floor, too. How's your milk, William?
Good.
Oh, good. I wonder if she would drink it. She wants to drink it. We tried to put it in her sippy cup, but she wants to drink it like brother drinks it. So, here we are. Drinking it like brother. Oh, you guys are too cute. Okay. There we go. How's that? We're doing good. Do I dare wipe your face? You're gonna think I'm wiping your snot. I'm not. I'm getting your mouth. I'm getting your mouth. She's getting to that point where she's had her nose wiped so much that her nose is starting to get cracked. You know how that happens at the end of a cold. So she really doesn't want anyone touching her, but you can't blame her. Woohoo! I just soaked myself. Did you finish your milk, buddy? Yeah? Oh, good job. Okay. Well, set it over on the table because I'm sure you're going to want some with dinner, aren't you? Yes?
What's for this?
Well, you can have some refried beans when we go to eat. Woo! I'm getting my milk treatment. I'll tell you that much. There it is. All right, let's take that plastic spoon out of there, actually, buddy. Here. And then what I'm going to do, for everyone watching here, I'm going to move this Instant Pot chamber back into the Instant Pot and put it on Keep Warm so that stays nice and warm while we wait for the rest of our stuff to cook. All right.
And then we can eat it.
Then we can eat it with our burritos.
And
Our delicious smothered burritos.
And we can have some milk.
Yes, and we can have some milk.
Put it on the table.
All right, you guys. I don't think I'm missing any comments, but the orientation on my phone is such that I'm hoping I'm not. Anyway, that was a good long class, but without the additional time on the Instant Pot, this meal would have been under 20 minutes to make. So you can do it. It is possible. I hope I inspired you guys today. If you haven't gotten the cookbook yet, the link is down below. It's only $18.99, and they are going to be shipped to me on Monday. So I will be shipping out the cookbooks next week to you all. All right, Sharon. How old is she now? Sharon, she is 10 months old. That's how fast that happened. I couldn't believe it when she was 9 months old, and now it's like, oh, 10. Pretty soon we're going to be 11, and then a year. Just went by so fast. So there we go. All right, you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys on the next one. We're going to finish our milk, and then we're going to have our delicious smothered burritos. Hope you guys give this one a try. It's delicious. Take care. Just a minute, lovey. Bye.